As you guys may know, I've talked about corporate greed and corruption in various companies like Sony, Funimation, Rooster Teeth, Anime News Network, Crunchyroll, and more. Well, today, we're going to talk about Magic the Gathering and Hasbro. Although I would also like to make a disclaimer, I am not an expert on this topic, and there are YouTube channels that know much more about Magic and the financial end of Magic than I do. Two in particular that I enjoy are Tolarian Community College and Alpha Investments. Both those channels are really interesting. And Alpha Investments in particular, Rudy over there, has been covering this topic extensively regarding how bad things are getting for Hasbro's financials. So I'll have them both linked in the description though if you want to check them out. Now let's see what's going on. Now Magic has previously gotten into controversies like this. Magic the Gathering removes racist cards from the game, which a lot of fans took umbrage with, and other news like this. Magic artist canceled, where Therese Nielsen was essentially fired for following certain people on Twitter that she apparently wasn't allowed to follow. And now we got news like this. This is, of course, years later, and there's more context. I'm not just saying this is directly linked. You'll see the point I'm making soon enough. Magic the Gathering from Financial Times. Bank of America says Hasbro's killing its golden goose. Even writing the quotes here, bullet points. We are downgrading Hasbro to underperform after conducting a deep dive on the company's Magic the Gathering business. Hasbro is overproducing Magic cards, which has propped up recent results, but is destroying the long-term value of the brand. Card prices are falling, game stores are losing money, collectors are liquidating, and large retailers are cutting orders. Now let's go back to the racist article. I've also got the actual statement here from Wizards of the Coast. Here's the point that I'm going to make. I actually don't have an issue with them removing cards that they felt were racist from their game. What I have an issue with is that they're insincere. In my opinion, they don't care about fighting racism. They care about their ESG score. They care about what shareholders see. They care about the money. And it's understandable, you know, a company's going to care about money. All right. But if you're going to talk about these issues and pretend like you care about racism, when in reality, we all know it's some ESG stuff. I'm going to press X to doubt on that one. For example, we should have been better, we can be better, we will be better. Like a lot of the terminology here is very ESG-esque. I wouldn't have a problem with this statement if it would have been like a 2-3 sentence thing saying something like, hey, we took a look at some of our old cards. We think they're actually pretty racist and we're going to change them. If that was what they said, I'll be like, all right, dude, sure. If those cards are actually racist, by all means, go ahead and remove them. It's your game. I don't like racism. Be my guest. But it's because they come out with stuff like this, like I said, where it comes off like they don't actually care. It's just ESG stuff. They just want your money, and that's it. So going back to the Therese Nielsen news, she was apparently fired. And if you don't know, by the way, Therese Nielsen was a beloved artist in the Magic community. There was even Reddit posts defending her where people were talking about no longer supporting Magic because of this occurring. Regardless, Wizards of the Coast / Hasbro apparently fired her because she was following people like Jack Posobiec, Mike Cernovic, and Alex Jones. Also, apparently because she was like a trans exclusionary person, although this article claims that there's no evidence of such at all. And to be quite frank, this is a conservative outlet that covered this topic. It's literally called the American Conservative, actually. The fact is, though, there's not like mainstream news coverage on this topic, which you could argue are left-leaning outlets anyways, most of them. So, you know, pick your poison, I suppose. Yeah, I don't like politicians or corporations on either side. So there you go. But the fact of the matter is that, like I said, I got to work with what I can get. This is one of the only outlets that cover this topic, and this one is NewsGuard certified, so I went with this one. So now here's the thing, talking about insincerity, right? Hasbro, Magic, they want to make these statements against racism. They want to fire people for following certain people on Twitter. They're clearly making some sort of statement with their actions here, and you know, also literally making a statement like with the depictions of racism and Magic statement that we took a look at a moment ago. Oh, I almost forgot about this one. Hold up. Another article from Inverse. Magic the Gathering is getting, whoa, that highlight completely makes it unable to read the text. Whoa, that's inconvenient. Let me try that again. Magic the Gathering is getting rid of sexist art, and some fans are mad. Okay. And so all this ties into the point that is the overarching point of this video, which I'm going to give you more evidence of in a moment. And that point is, in my opinion, Wizards, Hasbro, they don't care about any of this politically correct stuff. They don't care about fighting racism or sexist stuff. It's all just ESG stuff. It's all buzzwords for the sake of money. I now present you an article from just last month, October 5th. Sportskeeda says Magic has officially lost their minds. Magic the Gathering sees major backlash over 30th anniversary edition product. They say in yesterday's Magic the Gathering Weekly, Wizards of the Coast announced the next Magic the Gathering's 30th anniversary drop. This drop is costly at $999. We'll say $1,000. And many fans have expressed outrage over this release. It's not just the price that has fans upset, though. To celebrate 30 years of Magic the Gathering, this release will give players 4 booster packs with 15 cards. Featuring the classic artwork, these cards will have a 30th edition stamp for the set. and there is a possibility of a Black Lotus in these. However, none of these cards are tournament legal in any format. Many see this as price gouging or a complete ripoff at worst. Players are buying cards they'll never be able to use in a serious format. There are no guarantees for any of the packs. You can see a tweet right here as well from the Liana Uwu talking about this. So yeah, hey, 30th anniversary. You want to celebrate the 30th anniversary with us, players? Yeah. Celebrate 30 years of Magic. You just got to give us $1,000. They think you are all extremely stupid. You are all a bunch of suckers. They make a nice little post. Oh yeah, guys, we want to fight racism. Give us your money. Oh, Bank of America says Hasbro could fall 34% due to company ruining Magic the Gathering card game. Hasbro is killing its golden goose by destroying the long-term value. I think that's the Yahoo reposting the Financial Times article we took a look at. Hasbro stock tumbles after bank issues warning about Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering has been printing too many cards, according to analysts. Let's check this out from comicbook.com. Hasbro stock took an unexpected tumble this week after a Bank of America analyst issued. I should talk slower sometimes. Let's do that. A dire outlook about Magic the Gathering's aggressive release schedule and strategy. Hasbro's stock slid nearly 10% on Monday after analyst Jason Haas downgraded Hasbro's stock outlook from buy to underperform. The reason for this rare double downgrade was due to a deep dive on Hasbro's recent strategy on its Magic the Gathering releases. Surprisingly, Haas mirrored much of the recent criticism about Magic the Gathering's recent releases, pointing out that the deluge of releases was flooding the market. A quote, Hasbro is overproducing Magic cards, which has propped up recent results, Haas wrote. Card prices are falling, game stores are losing money, collectors are liquidating, and large retailers are cutting orders. I guess that's a quote we saw earlier from the Financial Times, actually. Sounds familiar. Now, here's another issue. All that stuff is going on. Actual shops are cutting orders. Interest is lowering from the consumers. All the while, Magic the Gathering and Hasbro is acting like nothing bad is going on at all. As a matter of fact, everything's better than before. And that's why they say that they're propping up results in the short term. They're essentially trying to put short-term profit ahead of longevity for the company, making some people concerned about the future of Magic. If Hasbro's outlook is flood the market now, make as much money as we can now, what are they implying about the future? And so ultimately, as I mentioned, there are issues with Magic's insincerity with statements talking about, diversity, inclusion, and all that sort of thing. That said, though, it's not directly linked to the current news. Some of that stuff happened years ago, like Therese Nielsen, for example, and the people that said they were not going to support the game. Like I said, that happened 2 years ago, so it's not directly correlated. The fact is more so, I bring that up for the operations of the company. That's what we're taking a look at here. The public, they'll say one thing. They'll lie to you, whether it's about diversity and inclusion and fighting racism. They'll lie to you about that stuff. In my opinion, they're lying. Or they'll lie about how well the market's doing right now. And everything's great. We're making so much money. Everything is well. People can afford this stuff too. People can afford our $1,000 anniversary. They can afford all the releases. Oh, stores are cutting orders? Nah, what are you talking about? It's a lot of lies, man. And that's a big problem people have with the company right now. And that's a problem I have with companies in general that make statements like Magic has. For example, Rooster Teeth, we saw. Rooster Teeth would go off all the time talking about how they are against racism and transphobia and stuff. Meanwhile, at the company, they have literal racism and transphobia going on. Vice president getting charged for abusing his wife. Crunch time, not paying people, allegations of all that stuff. It's just the whole 9 yards, man. These companies are very fake when they say something that seems like a nice thing to the public. In reality, it's a hollow virtue signal. It's a meaningless statement. Look at how the company actually operates. You'll probably see a completely different picture. Anyways, that's all I got to say. Hopefully you found this interesting. I personally view this Hasbro Magic news as another great case study, great example of corporate greed and corruption. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you there.